Hi, everybody. Welcome to Aviation for Girls Engage E-Learning with a theme of aviation maintenance. So while you come on in, we're going to go ahead and get our poll started. Have you tried to fix something before? All right, let's see if we can get some of our responses here. Have you tried to fix something before? And you could have fixed something with tape, you could fix something with glue, or you could have fixed something with rivets and things like that. Amanda, what is your favorite way to fix something?
A big hammer.
A big hammer. I love that. I love that. That's great. Awesome. So we have, yes, I have used manual tools like a wrench, hammer, and or screwdriver to fix something. Excellent. All right. So here we go. We'll start with our customs. Remember, we respect everyone. We are recording this session so that we can put it on YouTube. And be thoughtful of your questions. Raise your hand. Use the reactions. We love to see the reactions. And most important, we're going to have fun. If I could see some reactions now, that would be awesome. I'd love to see some reactions. Here we go. And here's a little sneak peek of what we're doing later. And we'll go to our next slide. So our agenda, we have our introductions, featured specialist, our guest specialist, Amanda Hoover, who's right here with us, a Q&A, and then we have a riveted Rupahado activity, a raffle, and then our closing announcements. And on the call, I have our communications coordinator, Sabrina Carr. You want to say hi, Sabrina?
Hi everyone. Hi Amanda.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Great. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for being here, Sabrina. Sabrina's here to support
Of
us.
course.
And I'm Annie Steckleather. I'm a manager of youth programs for WAI. And then we have Amanda Hoover. She's a shop manager at Chris Duncan Race Cars. Amanda, do you want to say a little bit more about what's going on with your life?
Well, I have quite an exciting life. I have been in drag racing for the last 22, 23 years of my life. I
Wow.
actually tune race cars, so I am the person that uses a laptop and I can make them go fast. I do fuel systems, chassis setups. We build race cars here. And I just recently decided to take my mechanical interest and turn it into airplanes and aircraft and actually started school for aviation mechanics.
I love it. I love it. Thanks so much for sharing. We're so happy to have you here tonight.
I am happy to be here.
And we have a featured specialist, Michelle Sanchez, who's a Women in Aviation Scholarship winner. And she is an airframe and power plant apprentice at New Moon Aviation. A lot of times when we talk about airframe and power plant, it's said A&P, A&P license, but I typed it out for everybody. So she made this little video because she is on her way to earn her scholarship with us.
Hi, my name is Michelle Sanchez. I'm an apprentice A&P in Central Oregon, and I'm here to share some tidbits of advice that I would have liked when I first got started. A typical day at our hangar starts with a view of the mountains, and then a cup of coffee to get ready for the day. You'll say good morning to the shop cat who's missed you while she spent the night at the hangar. Then you'll start taking a look around the hangar to see which aircraft you have in the shop that day. Maybe it's a turboprop, maybe it's a glider, maybe it's a radial. But you never know. You might be taking an engine off that day to send it out for overhaul. You might be pulling a prop off to replace some seals. Maybe it's a sheet metal job to repair a vertical stabilizer. Regardless, you'll have to find that technical data, pull all the manuals, service bulletins, etc., to be able to do the job right. And if there aren't enough instructions, you get creative within the scope of your abilities. You'll toss around some jokes on the hangar floor. I am not, in fact, sleeping in this plane. I'm working on brake lines. And then you'll make sure, as you're pulling everything apart, you stay organized, you label things, you keep them in separate containers, and you make sure you put everything back exactly how you found it. You have a great team that you get to work with, and that makes life a lot easier. You have fun with that team, like camping out with planes, and then you get to enjoy the sunset. After that, you go home and you study with your cute dog. I would say that I've spent a lot of time doing a lot of different jobs with different demands, but this is one that I'm never going to get bored of because I get a different problem every day to solve, and not everything, especially with older planes, is spelled out for you in a manual. You have a bunch of different reference material to go off of and standards to keep, but sometimes your instructions are to remove it and replace it as you removed it, and that's all the information they give you. And I think that's the exciting part for me. I love working where something seems impossible or there's no way you can get to it unless you pull the engine off of the airframe. But you figure it out anyway. The first thing I would let you know is that doing aircraft maintenance is full of lots of uncomfortable positions. The more flexible you are, the easier it is to get in and out of them. You'll be upside down, backwards, and sometimes just doing tasks that are in weird positions. Everyone will tell you that having your A&P certificate is a license to learn, and that can't be more true. The biggest thing when you first get started, and even when you have 30 years of experience, is to remain teachable. It's really easy to get frustrated on this job, but figuring out how to maintain a level head no matter how difficult it is really huge. A notebook is your best friend on this job. No one, it doesn't matter how much experience you have, can keep all of this information in their head. Always write things down, always keep notes. You will thank yourself later when that one project comes up that you did that one time and there was some trick that the guy you don't work with anymore had up his sleeve. Tools are everybody's favorite thing to spend money on, but they cost a lot of money. So I would start saving money now. You don't need to buy every tool in the world when you first get started. A basic set will get you a long way. Definitely get yourself a flashlight and a mirror that you really like, and build your tool kit from there. I love my Nipex pliers and my offset wrenches. Take every opportunity you can, even if it's not offered. Seek them out, talk to people. This industry is so huge on networking. You can walk up to your local airport and go ask the guy about his plane because you think it looks cool, and he'll talk to you for an hour. Go to air shows, go to museums, apply for scholarships, see what trainings people send you to. You can never do too much, and the people you're gonna meet are amazing along the way. And don't forget to have fun, because at the end of the day, this is the coolest job you'll probably ever have.
All right. Amanda, did any of that resonate with you?
Oh, a lot of it did in so many ways.
And I had to laugh about coming home to the dog, right?
Yes, we were just talking about it. Let's see if I can do this. I have a helper tonight. He is up in my lap saying, "Mom, I need attention." So
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here. Take it away. Tell us, what made you decide to go from race cars to aviation? And I'd also love to know, what got you into race cars?
Well, I guess let's start with the racing part. I was raised around cars. When I was little, I was the girl who had Hot Wheels. I didn't have Barbies, I had Hot Wheels. Cars and anything mechanical has always fascinated me. So I actually, when I was in high school, I wanted to fly fighter jets.
Oh, cool.
But my eyesight back then, because I'm older, my eyesight made it where I couldn't fly jets, and so I was young and stubborn, and I went, well, fine, I'm not going to do any of it. I do not recommend that in life. Having a stubborn attitude is, yeah, you hurt yourself more than you gain from that. But so I kind of drifted away from it. Life happens. You know, we had kids, had a family. My kids have now gotten older, and I came back to my love of airplanes, and like, why not? Why not do it now? I've had a lot of opportunities within racing. I've gotten to do a lot of really neat things. I've got to travel the world because of drag racing. Like I said, when something kind of hits your heart and you need to go for it, you should always go for it.
I love that. And just one second. Hey, everybody, if you're on the call listening, you can put questions into the Q&A, or you can even put chats into the Q&A and I'll read them. So feel free to ask us questions along the way.
Yes, please do. I'm willing to answer anything.
So Amanda, how did you get into race cars? Where did that journey start for you?
Again, I was always into cars. Actually, my stepdad is the one who got me into drag racing itself. He's raced for a long time, and I started going to the track with him and started learning how to do this, that, and the other. And actually, I've got to do a lot of the old school stuff, like taking care of the engine, servicing the transmission. He actually has a transmission shop, so I've done a lot of transmissions on a lot of cars. But one thing led to another. There more and more of the computer systems came on board for the race cars. The more he went, if you want it, you got to learn it. So he kind of handed it all over to me, and I took it and ran. So everything fascinates me, from old school to new school, and that's the way I word it, because you can learn a lot from the computers, but if you don't know what's actually going on inside of it, you're missing a lot, because sensors can fail, and if you know what you're looking at, then you can handle it all.
Yeah, so you can tell from seeing, but can you tell from a sound? Can you tell from performance? What happens in that situation?
Absolutely. It's amazing. And that's one of those things that's hard to explain sound wise. You know from the time it starts, if something's off, like if a cylinder's down, you definitely hear that one. You can hear it miss. But even if it's got too much fuel in it, you can hear that. You learn to hear that. If it's lean and mean, you hear that too. If timing's a little, like, you can hear all that, which is, it's kind of crazy once you learn that. But like I said, you have computers with sensors that can tell you a whole lot, but if you can tear down the motor and look at the bearings and see, oh, hey, we have a problem that is not showing up on this computer screen, that's invaluable.
Yeah, absolutely. So will you tell us, what are you working on in this picture?
That is actually my family's pro mod car. It's my stepdad's car, which is kind of how I began a lot of the stuff. That car, actually, with that car, we won several championships, and that car was the world's fastest root explorer car in the world.
Wow.
So yes, it's one of my claims.
Awesome.
We had the world record a few different times. It kind of went back and forth with another guy, and so.
Oh, wow, that's really cool. Well, while we're on the topic of cars, what's your favorite type of car?
I'm torn on that. My first car was the 68 Camaro, so I always have a soft spot for them. But I like Firebirds. I'm a Pontiac girl.
Okay. Okay. My first car was a Pontiac Sunbird, so I very much
Really?
I very much enjoyed my Pontiac Sunbird, yes. And I would say though my favorite car that I've seen, because I've been to a lot of car shows myself,
Yeah.
is a Pantera.
Oh, those are cool. Those are
They're
very
really
cool.
cool.
I
Sabrina,
agree.
what's your favorite car?
Um, my favorite, I think I love the Lamborghini. I know
Oh
it's
yeah.
very it's the basic, but I do. And actually, last year I had the opportunity to drive that on the racetrack in Miami.
Oh,
So
nice.
yes, I did. So that was fun. And I same, I love sports car, but I think you definitely love driving the manuals more, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
Yeah.
yeah, that's so
Speaking
cool.
of supercars like that, have you seen an Audi R8?
Hmm. Yes.
If you
Hmm.
like, I'd say that would probably be tea, your cup of tea too.
Hmm. Hmm.
So Amanda, do you go on the racetrack too, or do you just, I mean, how does that work? What does that look like?
I don't. Oh, I have drag race. I have driven a few different cars, but what we're doing, it's so fast. Like Eddie has raced for so long. It's not something you just get in and drive.
Yeah.
You know, it's 3.5 seconds, 3.5 to 4 G's on launch. You're running an eighth, like I said, you're running an eighth mile in 3.5 seconds at over 200 miles an hour. So it's negative, like it's 3.5 to 4 G's when you launch and negative 3 G's when the chutes hit.
Wow. So then that is kind of similar to the jets, right?
Yes.
Pretty
I
cool.
always call it my land-based rocket.
I love that. All right. So what's your favorite type of aircraft then? If we've talked about favorite types of cars.
F-22.
All right.
Mhm.
Awesome. Amazing. Well,
That's Need
hey,
for Speed, apparently.
It's
that's
the
it.
Raptor, right?
Do what? Yes.
That is the Raptor. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Well, our attendees, if you want to put your favorite type of car or aircraft in our Q&A, we'd love to hear that. So go ahead if you want to type that out. Amanda, will you tell us what's going on in this picture?
We were actually servicing the motor. We were going through bearings, and as you can see, my old dog, I know he passed away, but he was 16, but he was my first shop dog. But we were servicing the motor, so I was up underneath it, and we were turning the motor and checking bearings.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And it looks like, what's the tool that you have on the far left of that, near the shop cloth?
I'm going blank. It's a socket. It's a power socket. There's a
Yeah.
drill with a socket, but I'm going blank right now.
Oh, very nice. All right. Okay. We have Cadence likes monster trucks
Nice.
and Farah likes Mustangs.
Nice.
Very
Nice.
cool. Awesome. All right. Well,
Monster truck's kind of funny. I like to hear that because it's so different than what you normally hear. They have big engines.
so the difference in terms of monster trucks and the big engines, I mean, do they go fast or is it just the engine that has to get the weight of the you know, the
it's more
big
torque.
tires? Okay.
Yeah, it's more torque with the monster trucks because you're trying to move something that's massive. I mean, they're still fast. They can be fast and doing the flips and stuff, but yeah, it's less about the horsepower, more about torque with them.
Awesome. Thanks. So then in this picture, this is where you're really talking about tuning. So can you tell us a little bit more
Yes.
about that?
This was, trying to figure out which car it is. Well, actually, I take the laptop and I have two different programs that I talk to. One of them is actually the tune-up of the car where you tell each system what you want to do. Like timing, I can control timing in hundredths of a second and tenths of a degree. And then we have another box that is actually the information from the car. So you hook up to it and you download all the information from all the systems. So it's two different boxes. I can't see very well which program was up in that one, but probably I was looking at data since I was sitting there like that. I probably had downloaded it and I was just sitting there looking at it and trying to decide what I wanted to put back in the car to try for the next round.
Got it. So basically you download the data first and
Yes.
you read it, observe, see what adjustments you need to make. Then you do the timing and send it back to the car.
Yes. You might do timing, you might do fuel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have fuel management as well. These cars usually have around 4 stages of fuel management. And it kind of depends on what kind of track you're running at. Timing is really hard, aggressive, and now. Fuel is a little more of a soft change. So whenever you lean it out, you make it more aggressive, but it isn't a right now. It gradually gets more aggressive. And if you add more fuel, you can calm it down without it being a hard hit. So.
Got it. Awesome. Really cool. So, Amanda, I know you brought some things for us. Do you want to check it out? And then what questions do we have? I have 2 more favorite cars. So Clara also likes trucks and Camille likes Corvettes.
Ooh. I'm a Chevy girl, so I'm Chevy Pontiac, so
Yeah.
that's
Very
funny because the
nice.
car that actually I was working on, it was a Corvette. I think I have a picture of it. Yeah. Hold please.
Oh, cool. Yeah, let's see it.
Sorry, it's an advertisement for the shop, but if I can put it up here. This
Oh,
is that
wow.
car. So it was a Corvette.
Awesome.
Just a
Thanks
side
for
note.
sharing. That's so cool.
No.
Well, I'm
But
gonna go to our next poll. If we have any questions that come up, we're ready for them. And then maybe you can tell us about the tools that you brought with us while I launch the poll.
yeah. So what I did was I made this cute little carbon fiber heart, and it is put together with smash rivets, but I got a pair of, this is what's called a pair of Clecos. You actually have the Cleco pliers. This is a Cleco, but you put them in there. See if I can show how this works really well. I'm trying to see this. So you push it in and this comes out. It gets smaller. I don't know if you can see. Can you see it okay? Or
while that poll is up, I'm gonna stop sharing and then hopefully, there you go. Now they'll be able to see nice and big.
awesome. So yes, on this, whenever you squeeze it, it makes it come out and narrow up. And then you pull it through. And as you pull it back, it actually gets wider. So it will hold within the hole.
Oh.
So it helps you keep things lined up so you can put the rivets on through it. So what you might do is you might drill out all your holes and you put the Clecos in to hold it in place. So as you're smash riveting it, it stays aligned where it needs to stay. And then whenever you want to pull them out, I'm gonna take this. You put this around this little ring and you push it and you can pull it back out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me where you would use rivets and the Clecos in
a lot of sheet metal.
And
a lot of your sheet metal stuff, yes. Whenever you're trying to get like panels together and keep them aligned, so you use the Clecos to help keep things aligned as you're putting things together.
Awesome. And so do you use those to fix things and also make things?
Guess it depends on how you look at it. You use it, like I said, you use it to kind of help keep things aligned as you're making something. So you're not actually making the project with it, but it helps you to keep everything where it needs to so you can make that item correctly. Keep everything aligned.
when you watch me and things wiggle in a few minutes when we make our activity, that's where I'm going to say, I need that Clico, Amanda.
Exactly. Exactly. And it said you don't really make anything with it, but it helps you to make things easier, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, I guess what I meant was, where do you use rivets and Clicos and the whole process in both areas? Where would you use that most?
Like I
Innovation.
said, on the sheet metal, like on your wings, on your body panels, anything like that. Especially when you're doing a large area, that's really where your clicos come in handy. Even small stuff, like we said, any of your sheet metal panels on the outside of the airplane or on the wings. For us, we make body panels, so it's the same type of thing. Whether you're using, steel or aluminum, or in this case, carbon, you can drill your holes, line them up, make sure it all stays together, and then as you're fastening it for good, then you know it's where it needs to be. Because like this, if you're just trying to drill through it, then the two pieces are going to move away from each other, and it'll kick it out this way or that way, and it's really hard to drill it correctly and keep it right without your helper.
I love it. Awesome. And Amanda, we have a question for you.
Okay.
This is from Sarika. She's in 8th grade engineering class, and they use many power tools. They have, they're building a dragster powered on compressed CO2. Have you
awesome.
done a similar project as a kid? And do you want to tell us a little bit about what Sarika's working on?
I have not, but I would love to. I need to look this up. Yeah, we need to get together, and you can give me the information on this project, because that sounds like a lot of fun. I know the compressed CO2 would give you momentum, so if you're using that as momentum to push the car forward, then I'm assuming that's where the CO2 comes in.
Very cool. Well, we could at the end, if we have time, Sarika, you can raise your hand and I can have you talk live with us if you want. And then she said in 7th grade, she used the Clicos and the rivets. Well, you're going to be a pro.
Yeah, she is. Trust me, there's a lot of boys out here that have never even seen this. So you're a step ahead of everybody.
I love it. I love it. Well, I really appreciate you sharing, and I hope that you'll stay with us, and we're going to transition over to our activity. And maybe you'll help me and give me some tips. I have done riveting. I've done a whole engine baffling before. So
nice.
But that is the extent of my maintenance. I did use the Clicos, and I am very good at cutting the baffling to fit in the engine. I should have brought a picture for you all.
Yeah.
But I didn't think of it. But so I do know how to rivet, but I will tell you, when I did that job, Amanda, I was using an air rivet machine, which does a lot of the work for you, everybody. And you will see with our rivet squeezer tonight that it takes a little bit of force.
Yes. I brought 2 different riveters to kind of, I'm not sure which kind you have, because you have what's called a smash riveter. And basically the ball of the rivet goes on the top side, and you take the bottom side, you push this together, and it smashes the rivet. And that's what we have within this. And you can see the back side, it's nice and flat. Basically what it does is it holds it down. But on the same similar thing as the air riveter, this is what we call a blind riveter. So if it's in a blind spot where you can't get the big riveter in, you have a Clico that looks like, a rivet that looks like this, that slides into here, and then you can smash it down, basically. So you smash, and it'll do that for you. So there's a couple different types of rivets too.
Yeah, I love that. Let me share, and I'll share a little bit more about the rivets, and then maybe you can talk us through it. Here we go. All right, so here are materials. So there's a rivet squeezer I have an art metal foil sheet. This is a really thin piece of aluminum. And the reason I chose that is so that everybody can cut it without extra tools. But Amanda, how did you cut your carbon fiber? What did you use for that?
I use tin snips for these.
Tin snips. Okay, cool. So again, tin snips. What other ways do we cut sheet metal?
You can, there's some air cutters that you can use.
Yeah,
The problem with that is it tends to warp the metal as you're doing it. So honestly, tin snips
the best.
are the best. Yes.
And then
Work, but it's the best.
And then there's a whole other process of the welding, but typically we don't do welding on aircraft or cars unless it's like big, big pieces of metal, right?
For the sheet metal side, no. On the chassis side, yes.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Chassis side. Will you tell them what that means? What the
The chassis is what we consider like the framework of the vehicle. It's in a car. A lot of times, whenever you see a chassis like what we're talking about, a safety cage, a roll cage, something like that. In your airplane, there's round tubing that makes the frame that you put your sheet metal on. So the tubing that holds the sheet metal, you're going to weld that together, but the sheet metal goes more with your rivets, and that way you can get in there if you need to fix something.
Ah, got it. Love it. Yes, and that's where you do welding
Yes.
because the welding's much stronger than anything else. It's like fusing the metal together.
Yes.
So you need a pencil, particularly a sharp pencil, which here's mine, and some colored permanent markers, scissors, and then I have this foam, which the foam is kind of simulating the engine baffling. So engine baffling has, I think it has carbon fiber in between, correct me if I'm wrong, and then rubber on either side. So it's like a sandwich. And so this foam kind of simulates the engine baffling. And if you want, you can print some of these little outlines. Whoop, I'll show you with my camera to trace. And then you can either use a keychain or even just a string to hold it up. So here's our ribajado. This is a Oaxacan metal art. So this is early 21st century, which means like 2000 era. But ribajado Mexican or Oaxacan, Aztec metal art dates back all the way to the 16th century. So we're going to be doing a little spin on that with our aluminum. And then here's some examples of a very fancy mechanical lock cherry rivet. This is not exactly what we're using, but I got this diagram from the AC 4313-1B. If you're really interested in aviation maintenance, it's a almost 700-page document with basically all of the information that you could read through. And you can just Google it because it's an FAA material. So you can look at it on the internet. But basically you have two pieces or more. Whoops, we'll go back, sorry. And you put the rivet in, right? You use the plico to hold things together while you slide the rivet in. And then what happens is you squeeze it, and then this creates this bulb. So this area right here. And then it'll cut off this little tap up at the top. Amanda, jump in if there's more than...
That's a good description. That's a great description.
Okay, awesome. So without further ado, we're going to go switch and work on our activity. So feel free to ask any questions. You can put in the chat. I can see the chat if you need me to slow down a little bit. But you can see I have my materials. This is an example of what we're making. So that's my last one. And here's something you can either draw, I suggest, on paper, or you can print just like an airplane outline or a helicopter outline. So I thought I was going to do the helicopter since I already did my own airplane, which I did freehand. So that one's a freehand. These are printed. And the first thing we're going to do, and this is where I could use a Clico, is we're going to cut this out. And then notice on this one, you could make it double-sided. I'm going to not make it double-sided this time. So we can really just focus on one side. but you could make it double-sided. All right, so we're gonna put this together and I'm gonna use my scissors and cut this out. And I would say be very careful when you cut this, just like Amanda, you use the tin snips, right?
Yes.
Well, we're using really thin aluminum instead of the tin snips. There you go. See, I need my Cleco. Well, I'm gonna use a piece of tape instead of Cleco. How about that?
I was gonna actually suggest that.
Here we go. All right, so if you have some tape, you can tape it too. And so this is really thin aluminum, so you don't have to use the heavy duty tin snaps, but you want to be really careful, especially on little edges where I am now. And I'm not going in here because it's going to be a little too fragile there. So I'm just going to make the shape a little bigger than it needs to be, which is totally fine. And just kind of chip stuff away from it. So I'll go back in and do some details later.
I'll throw that out on the tin snip side too. Like when you're cutting stuff with tin snips, you want to do the bulk of it around, and you do a little bit at a time when you start getting into the detail stuff.
So kind of similar way to how I'm doing it.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, and it's nice and slow and careful, right, everybody?
Yes.
I would say if you are in elementary, you may want to get an adult to help you and just make sure, because this can get, you see right here, this is really nice and sharp. So just be careful with that. The other thing, if you do have some sharp edges, you can use a little piece of sandpaper and kind of smooth them out. Do you ever use sandpaper or a grinder or something
We
like
have
that?
files.
Files, that's right.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Metal files.
I'm flashbacking to my dad's file drawer. All
Well,
right,
so you could
so
actually take a nail file, I think, and kind of help sand down on what you're doing.
that's a great tip. I don't have one up at my desk, which is surprising, but I will definitely use that when I put this on our Aviation for Girls app. All right, let's see if I can get this piece out safely. And that's that tricky little corner that Amanda was talking about right here. And this is where you get the sharpest parts. Just be careful with that. I'm going to move this. All right, so here's my helicopter shape. See if I can get it. And Amanda, I warned you that about 7 o'clock is when my dogs eat dinner.
Yes.
So I don't know if anybody can hear, but I can hear one of them.
Oh, that's funny. I
He's
can't hear him, but
he's talking right down there. I can hear him. He just woke up from a nap.
that's
All
funny.
right, so I'm going to look at this and put this back. It looks like I need to go in and cut this part out, and then we'll be ready. And I'm going to check really carefully for any rough corners. Okay, sweet. So we'll put this all to the side. All right, double check, make sure nothing is kind of poking out. It looks good to me. So I'm just going to put that right there for a second. And then I'm going to get my foam or your engine baffling. And I'm going to place this in a way where I can cut out a nice thick edge, similar to this one. And then that way your tin is going to be supported and you're not going to pinch your fingers or anything on that. So I'm going to use the tape again instead of my Cleco and just hold that down. And then we'll cut this out too. And so this isn't really going to look exactly like the shape of a helicopter because it's going to be a little bit wider, but it's still going to work great. All right, so just give yourself about a pinky width around. And again, you can kind of chip away at pieces too. And I'll probably not cut into there so that it's much sturdier. And I'll go up here and I'll make that blade area nice and round. And then go in here. All right. Now I'm going to reuse my tape because I cut it off. So we'll kind of move it over and be careful so you don't bend it. And then I'm going to show you how we can do our rivets. All right, I'm going to put it up here this time. Okay, so you could use a punch, or how do you poke holes in the carbon, Amanda?
I use a drill.
That makes sense. I'm actually using the end of my rivet and I'm just going to poke through because this stuff's really thin. So you really don't need to do much more than that. And you'll see it.
You can hear mine now. My dog's whining now.
I wonder if he heard
I
mine.
heard that.
So I poke through with that, and then this is where you need that pencil. I just like to widen it just a little bit. So the end of my rivet will slide in here. And you want it to be kind of tight. You don't want the hole to be too big. What happens when the rivet, the cleco or the rivet hole is too big, Amanda?
Well, it falls out.
Exactly. Or, in some cases it will pull through. So just so you know, here's the other side and you want to push it in. And if you have trouble, you can put little washers back here too, so that it doesn't pull through this thin material. And then you want to make sure on your rivet squeezer that this hole is the right size for your stem. So for example, I have a much bigger rivet somewhere. Here we go. Over here. See the difference in the size? And this is not going to fit in that hole. So if you want to change it, you have to take these off and you may need a little bit of a wrench. Your squeezer should come with that. I left mine downstairs, whoops. But that's okay. So then you're going to take this and you're going to slide it on that stem, just like that. And then I like to kind of push this flat while I squeeze, and it takes 2 squeezes. And you'll notice that the next squeeze, the rivet squeezer kind of goes up and then it slides back down. So make sure this part's really important that it's nice and flat. And this is where, for me, it takes 2 hands.
Yes.
So I'm going to use both hands and you'll hear a noise. There it is. And that's that shear. It's coming off. And this is basically scrap. We don't use this. So there I go. I have my first rivet on our helicopter embossed tin. So what I would suggest is do one, at least 4. And you can, that way it'll be secure. So we'll go ahead and do another one. Any questions so far? How are we doing? Awesome. There we go. I'm poking it through. I'm going to use my pencil and just make that hole a little bit wider. In normal situations, you would use a drill. This is really thin stuff so that anybody can do this. All right, and then here we go. So you slide that on the stem. You give it the first squeeze. And then it's going to pull up. You'll hear it slide down. And here's the second squeeze. And there it is. 2 down. It looks good on the back. All right, I probably need one on the tail too. So I'll do 2 more. In the idea of time, I'm going to do 1 more down here and 1 more here because I want to show you how you can make all those cool patterns and emboss this. So I'm going to do 1 more here. There we go. I have my rivet through, and I'll do 1 more. I'll do it right in the middle so it looks like the blade. So you can also use the rivets to do designs, right?
Yes.
And here is my pen to widen that, or my pencil rather. All right, and we'll do one here. And then a lot of times, especially when you have the air-powered rivet machine, you get all these rivets in at once, right? You can have multiple rivets in at once like this.
Yeah.
And then you go bum, 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 really fast, right?
Yes.
It's very satisfying.
It is, yes.
All right, here we go. There's one, pops down. There's two. Here's one, pops down, and here's two. I will say that if you have the rivet squeezer, I tried to do this big thick one by myself and I couldn't. So I would suggest I would suggest doing the little rivets. Amanda, I don't know if you have any tips for me on that.
Sometimes it's just hand strength. I do actually have one thing, the rivets you just did and the little tips, the ends of them that come off.
Yeah.
Want to make sure that those come out of your hand tool.
Oh,
before
great
your
tip.
next one. Because if you have it upside down and you don't get that out of there, it will jam it up.
Great tip. Thank you. I love that. Okay, so next step is you get to have fun and decorate this. So you can actually use this and put it right on top and trace this and push kind of hard with your pencil. Or you can do something freehand too. So this is the center of the blade and we'll do this to come up. We already have that rivet there. I'm going to trace this edge. Well, there's a little rivet there, so I bumped over. Trace this and this. Okay, so now I have some dents, and you can see the dents. You can go in and make them much thicker. And you can add your own paint scheme, which is, I don't know, maybe my favorite part. Amanda, is there a favorite paint scheme that you've had in your career on a car or aircraft?
I don't know that necessarily I'll say a paint scheme, but purple and green, that was our thing for a while. So I still have, when I see purple and green together, it gets my heart.
Oh, I love that. It's kind of like a monster color.
Yes.
Combination. Well, our Aviation for Girls brand has purple, green, and pink, which when I was young were my favorite colors too. So once you do some of your embossing with your pencil, you can go in and you can add lots of details. Like if you wanted to actually show the blades here, you can add that. You could add, just some swirls or spirals and just really detail it any way you want. You could do patterns like hearts or stars. Here, I'll do a nice little star here. But make it your own. Have fun with it. I think I'm going to add some little stripes here. Yeah. And then maybe, I don't want to ruin that kind of propeller design, but what I'll do is
Annie, I think you should write AFG.
Oh, thank you, Sabrina. How could I have forgotten? All right, I'm going to put AFG right here in the little landing, I don't know what the word for that is right now. And maybe some more propellers. Landing legs? I need a helicopter expert.
Now I'm not a helicopter expert.
So now that you have this, you want to, and this is where you can secure your keychain, or you can, wait, whatever works for you. But I'm going to use this string because I didn't have the keychain, which is totally fine. And you can use recycled materials for this too. If you don't have this tin, guess what would work really well? Might be hard to cut, but a soda can. And that's actually how the traditional repujado or art was created, they cut up soda cans in the early 20th century. So there we go. I'm going to use this to make the center of where that propeller should be, or the helicopter blade. And then I'm going to move my tape because I don't need the tape anymore because it's riveted. Okay. And then I already widened it with a pencil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this string below the rivet hole, and you can definitely use the pencil to push it down there. Or if you have the keychain, you can just put the keychain underneath here too. All right, I think it's still above it. Sorry. Sometimes you need a little patience. Okay, it's there. Now I can put my rivet in. And same thing with the top of a keychain. We'll do this one more time. Squeeze. And then it slides back down. Remember that. Make sure it's really flat because that also will get it stuck. And then we'll do our pop. Make sure your stem comes out. And ta-da! That string is now stuck on that rivet. So we can use this to hold up your ornament or door tag or whatever you want it to be, really. So we're going to trim this keychain. It could be a keychain, even though it doesn't have the keychain top. And then I like to make a little fish to tie this. See the fish? And then the tail of the fish goes into the center. And we have that knot. All right, now the final details. Da-da-da-da. I'll zoom in on this so that you can see the details here. I see some reactions. Thank you. We can color this with the Sharpies. And the great thing about the Sharpies is because they're markers, they won't dent your tooling, so they won't make new dents. So you can really just have fun and decorate it any way you want. I think I'm going to go in and make this star pink. And we'll outline aviation for girls. And you can use lots of bright Sharpie colors and really have fun with this. Maybe do some of these swirls. There we go. All right, everybody. So there is our riveted repajado, our embossed art here. Let's see, this should be a good color for our windshield. Yes. And you can make one at home anytime. All right, we have just enough time. And I'm going to switch back to our PowerPoint because it's time for any questions. You can put those in the chat, but our activity raffle. So Sabrina, do you want to share how many tickets am I pulling tonight?
I might have to check. Wait.
That's okay. That's okay. We have 3 tickets we're pulling, and I have a elementary. Whoops, here we go. A high school and a middle school raffle bowl. So I have to say, everybody, I was so impressed by all of your hard work. I saw the Aviation for Girls tail wheel. I saw our Girls in Aviation Day coloring book for the 10th anniversary. I saw lots of crossword puzzles, word searches. Some people sent everything all at once. We saw the fighter jets in our Aviation for Girls magazine, so you all did a great job. And here we go. Here is time to pull our tickets. So I'm going to use this camera here so you can see it. We'll start with elementary, and I'm going to mix it up. Close my eyes. Oh, Clara M. Clara M., you've won the Girls in Aviation Day elementary prize. Congratulations. So I'm just gonna write right here. All right, and then we're gonna go to middle school. Excellent. Here's our middle school bucket. We're gonna mix it up. Here, my eyes are closed. Got one. Oh, that's a blank one. Whoops, I didn't think I cut those in there. Let's try again. All right, here we go. That's a mystery ticket. Eyes are closed. Nima. Oh, congratulations.
Yay.
And I will apologize to anybody if I am not getting your name correct. You can send me a message of how you say your name because I love learning how to say names correctly. All right, last one is our high school bucket. So I'm closing my eyes. We're mixing it up. All right, eyes closed. Who do we have? Amarachi. Great. Awesome. I love it. If you entered and you're on the call, congratulations for entering. We love seeing your work. We will be putting the work on the Aviation for Girls app so you can see your amazing job on there. And we'll be sending our prizes soon. So I'm going to switch back here real quick and we'll go to our next. Any questions for Amanda? Any questions for me? Amanda, what did you think of the little riveting activity?
I love it, actually. I'm kind of jealous. I want to make one for myself.
I love that. Well, I like that your carbon one was was perfect. It's much sturdier than mine, but it's still a good little piece. You get to practice riveting, the most important part.
Yes. Absolutely.
So I'm going to launch one more poll because in the beginning, not all of us were here, and I accidentally launched the wrong one, I'll admit. So this is our She Can Fix It poll. So what I'd love to know is, oh, I have to stop a poll. Sorry. Here we go. What I'd love to know is how many of you have fixed something before? Here we go. And Amanda, what are some ways that you fix something before we leave? Well, we get this last poll.
Well, let's see. With sheet metal, you use your 10 steps and you cut out pieces. You use your clecos and you use your rivets and you can put it back together that way. With an engine, you might be taking out a part that's broken and putting a brand new piece in and put it back together. Yeah, there's all kinds of ways to fix things. I mean, you may have a piece of paper, and you may need a piece of tape to fix it.
I love that. Or even glue sometimes.
Well, yes.
Oh, great.
Sometimes, actually, if you don't have a paper clip or something to hold something together, you can take a bobby pin and hold stuff together.
Yeah. And then what do they call those? They kind of look like bobby pins. Sometimes you use them on aircraft. They go in
Cotter pins.
That's it.
Yes, cotter pins. Yes.
Cotter pins. It looks just like a bobby pin.
They do, yes. Yes.
And then it slides in and it kind of I don't know what is the
pull the ends out to lock it in.
There you go. That's it.
Yes.
Safety wire. We use safety wire all the time.
Yes.
I love it.
Special pliers for the safety wire. That might be a fun one to show too.
Yeah, sometimes at our Girls in Aviation Day events, we use like the safety wire and the twist it to make bracelets or jewelry or earrings or keychains. Yeah. So before we go, everybody, coming up on our schedule, we have our October Aviation for Girls Connect News. Remember, anybody that's a junior member can be an anchor on our Connect News. and our 3rd annual costume contest. And then in our November, for our next Engage E-Learning, we have forest services and firefighting. So that'll be exciting. So here's our 3rd annual costume contest. You can dress up like an aviation maintenance technician, like Amanda or Michelle or someone else that you may know. If you go to an airport and find a shop, try and meet someone. You could dress as a pilot, an astronaut, anything you want in aviation, you can do it, and we'd love to see your costumes. Submissions are due on October 31st at 11:59 p.m. EST. On our poll, we did have that 100%. Yes, I have and used it again. So they fixed something and they were able to use it again, which is amazing. All right, everybody. Well, I cannot thank you enough for being here with us, Amanda. We had an awesome
I've had fun.
I hope you had fun. And I don't know about you, but I need to go feed my dogs.
Yes. Yeah, my guy's ready to go outside.
Yeah, my dog is already knocking on the door.
Oh, that's
I
funny.
can hear it.
They're demanding, aren't they?
They are. They are amazing. And Sabrina, thanks so much for being here. I hope you had
Thank you
fun
so
too.
much. I love it. Thank you so much, Annie, and thank you everyone who is here attending, and thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
We'll see you next time, everybody. Have a great evening.
Good
And
night.
you remember, she can fix it. Bye.
Bye.